Welcome back to another episode of the FPL Sheeple podcast. The paradigm in FPL has officially shifted as the defense became the main source of points this week. All the talk of this week was about trying ways to have four such heavy hitting defenders in your team. I'm joined by my co host Donatello. So, Donatello, how many did you have or are planning to have in your team?
I had four, I think.
Oh, all
Um,
four. That's super cool.
no, I think I had three. Um, but now I'm going to be ending up with three because one of the four
Yeah.
horsemen has been injured and will not no longer be a part of this season. But I guess three should be more than enough. If you count Livramento, then yes, we have four.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I mean, yeah, for us, yeah, we have Livramento, and I think we therefore both of us had the same four defenders, just not these four heavy hitting ones. And actually, I sort of got um, this entire week there was some sort of consensus for all the different FPL content that we consume every week is that it was all about trying to get a replacement for Ben Chilwell in as he's
Yeah.
injured for a long term, and it's all about who should you replace him with. And it's interesting that people are still not on Reece James, and including us both, because in the past weeks I don't think any of the content creators I mean, they have been suggesting James a little bit, but no one has been so hot on him as they have been this week. So
It looks like from the content creators' point of view, I think they assumed that James was a must have. So I think they didn't even bother having a discussion on them. And yeah, as you said, no one suggested in the last 3 weeks. So,
yeah,
but yeah, here we are. With Chilwell injured, we have a content creator this week who has suggested his replacements. So it will
yeah.
be interesting to see what we have done.
Yeah, that's true. So this week, since we're sort of coming to you a bit late, and yeah, just because of the busy sort of period right now going on in our actual personal lives or whatever, so we are going to aim to have sort of a shorter, sharper version of our episode as usual. So we'll just jump right into our content right away. So yeah, we start off with the template team review of Game Week 12. So this is where we take all the 20 content creators teams, their starting 11s, and take a look at which were the most commonly picked players with a valid formation. And it was interesting to see that even though we sort of thought that everyone is suggesting and being hard on uh, taking in Reece James, only 9 of the 20 teams had Reece James in the starting 11. So that's quite surprising. It's well below
Yeah.
the halfway mark. So it's sort of a differential for those 9 teams in a way. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe people had other things that they had to take care of, and maybe they had like a combination of two City defenders and Chilwell, and that's why that ended up
Uh,
being
yeah, maybe these are the people who might have invested more in Kane or Ronaldo upfront, or even a
yeah,
Son.
yeah.
So that results in having at least like three out of the four players. So that's why maybe James is only nine content creators owned James in the team.
Yeah, and I think because Ruben Diaz didn't play, I think Livramento got
Hmm.
substituted in for many of them. So
Yeah.
that's also probably a reason why I think people are invested in Ruben Diaz. And this week, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of. I mean, obviously Chilwell to some other defender type of moves, and Ruben Diaz to other defender
Yeah.
type of moves. So
Definitely.
those are going to be heavy this week. So yeah, so very interesting. Apart from that, I think Phil Foden was a common pick in 13 teams, and he ended up getting just 1 point. So I think people are going to lose patience and going to shift to Jota. That's again
Hmm.
another thing that we've heard um, over many other the all of the content creators discussing in their episodes respectively. So that's one move that's I think going to be common, and yeah, nothing else. Antonio is been there in all the teams. Everyone's being patient with him, and we'll take a look at what our content creator had to say about Antonio because he's not giving too many points. So there's been questions whether he should still continue to be in our teams.
Speaking of being patient, we also have the two fraudulent Mbumo and not so fraudulent Turi, because my rant for him worked last week. He scored a goal. So yeah, it's 15 content creators own this guy, and he is not returning any returns. Again, he had a shot on shot on the post for the seventh time in the season, but still doesn't justify him being in your team day in and day out. So the content creator of the week this has expressed his views on both these players as well. So we'll take a look on that too.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this you're like truly ranting about Mbuemo, or are you like reverse cursing him to now suddenly make him score points?
I don't own him. But yeah, it would be great to see him on the score sheet and at least give some returns for the content creators who owned him for like at least like now 7 to 8 game weeks. What is it? 7 to 8 game weeks now with no returns. So it would be good to see that he does something for once.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. I think I may be one who's been too patient with him, and let's hope your rant works this time as well.
Yeah.
All right. So then we go on to the game week review, and we start with your team. And it's unbelievable what you've achieved. So yeah, why don't you tell our listeners?
Yeah, I'm really happy with my score. I didn't expect to get 87 points when the game week started with like Chelsea. I didn't own James. So automatically, or Rudiger, so automatically I was like 12 points in deficit. But I think missing out on James was sort of that part was fulfilled by a combination of Jota, Ivan Toney, and Jimenez. Each getting like 8, 6, 8. So or 22 points in total between the three forwards. So that's how I think the tides turned, and even Ben Foster delivered that assist at the end of for the last goal against United, resulted in him getting 5 points. And also Rafinha didn't feature, so I got 5 points from Laporte. So I think it was a pretty lucky game week for me in many ways. First of all, with the Watford United game, I didn't expect Watford to win 4-1, and most of all, I didn't expect Ben Foster to give an assist. So yeah, a lot of things worked out my way, and as usual, Trent and Cancelo have been stars this season, delivering week in and week out. Trent with the 15 points and Cancelo with 12, and Salah with 8 points, 16 as captain. So overall, 87 points. My game week rank was 154k, and my overall rank rose by 200,000. So I'm now 270k from 465 or something. So this was a big boost, much needed boost for my team, to which propelled me a couple of 100,000s in rank.
Yeah, the team is in excellent shape. I think of all the suggestions that the content creators have been giving in the past weeks, I think ever since your wildcard, I think the team has done really well.
Well, that's an interesting point. Jimenez, I bought him a couple of weeks ago. He didn't deliver in the last 2 weeks, but then he does deliver in the third game week. So yeah, as you said, all the changes that we've been making based on the content creators, they are paying dividends long term. So even Laporte, who got me a -3 once, gave me with a 5-pointer, and then that helped me get like additional 5 points since Rafinha didn't play. So
yeah,
that feels good for a game week to get those points.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, an excellent week for you, and yeah, I think it's well placed. Even for the next week, your attack is well placed, and you have like the best defenders in the game. So it should be good. All right. So coming to my team, I think I had a pretty average game week. I got 71 points in the end, and game week rank of 1.5 million, and it was all good. It's only because Ruben Diaz didn't start, so he missed out on the clean sheet, and so Livramento came in instead of him, and just 1 point there. Otherwise, it would have been like a perfect, four men in defense, if I had maybe like a Rudiger or a James there.
Yeah.
Apart from that, yeah, as you said, Mbuemo and Tony. At least Tony scored, but Mbuemo still give me a blank. Gallagher was a good buy, and so
Mhm.
he keeps on churning those assists and goals. So he got 5 points. And yeah, apart from that, nothing to shout about. Still, I got a green arrow, and I'm on 160k. So I think this is the rank that I had a couple of weeks ago. Some sort of
Yeah.
stabilized and sort of oscillating around this 160 150k mark. It's okay. I hope maybe I feel that my team has a few differentials now. I think especially with Vardy and Gallagher, uh, I feel it's possible if they score some good points, one of the game
Yeah.
weeks might be lucky for me.
100%. Like even if now with Diaz and Rafinha, who will feature in the upcoming games, if you get decent attacking returns from Rafinha or even a clean sheet from Diaz, you add those up to your current points, you're already 80 plus points. So that was the only differential in an otherwise good team of yours. So I think it's very well set up. And I'm sure
Yeah,
like picks like Gallagher, who will be like good long-term picks, especially with Crystal Palace's form. So these are returns that you'll be getting soon.
yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, otherwise, I think there are still a couple players that I would like to maybe change, like maybe Antonio and Vardy. I'll move
Mm.
on, but I think I want to wait and see which one of the strikers are still not showing good form. We
Yeah.
last week we talked about it as well, and this week was no different. It didn't give us any new information. Kane is not doing what he's supposed to do. Ronaldo is assisting or scoring, but it's not like really worthy of giving like 12.5 points, investing 12.5 million into him. So yeah, we'll wait and watch about that one.
Mm.
For
Absolutely.
now, defense is the main focus anyway. Right. So then let's go on to the creator team comparison for game week 12. And this week we had to go not to the first to the second, but to the fourth runner up. And because we have already featured all of the three of the four top runners, one of whom was Donatello, and Donatello himself could have been the creator of the week, but yeah, we stay humble and we pick.
We don't do it here.
Yeah, we don't do that stuff here. We'll stick uh, to the actual content creators. Maybe towards the end of the season, like we did
Yeah,
last
maybe.
year, we could
Yeah.
if we are creator of the week, we can have our own thoughts. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So Big Man Bucker got 84 points, which was not a high score, but still good enough to feature as our creator of the week. He had an amazing defense. James Cancelo, Rudiger, and Alexander Arnold. That's even better than having Chilwell. That's like 5 points better than having Chilwell. So
Yeah.
that's like that's all of his points. I would say that's like what is that? 29 and 24, so 53 points just in four defenders. That's insane.
Yeah.
And yeah, he seems to have a good team. Foden, Vardy, Antonio, lots of things he can do. And yeah, we'll take a look at what he suggested and perhaps also get some insight into what he's planning to do for this week. um, so what we do every episode is that, or every game week, is that we take all of the starting 11 of the 20 content creators, and we prepare the spreadsheet, which is linked in the description of our video and our audio episodes. And you can also open the spreadsheet and take a look at it, because it's sort of what it does is that obviously it compares the game week points of the content creators, their total points, their overall rank, who they captained, and so on and so forth. And the main thing that we really find interesting is that all of their starting 11 players are then arranged in the spreadsheet in the order of their frequency. So the most commonly picked players are towards the left, and the differential picks are towards the right, only picked by one or two of these teams. So uh, we find it really interesting to take a look at all the teams together, and then take a look at which are the players that stood out in that game week, because we also have the player points for that week, and which players gave certain content creator an advantage over the others, such that they had better game week points. And this sort of also gives you a pool of players that are like the good picks from all these 20 content creators, and this gives us some guidance as to uh, playing this uh, playing this game better, hopefully. So yeah, so we take a look at the spreadsheet every week, and we come up with some takeaways from the spreadsheet every week. So yeah, why don't we start with your takeaways for this week?
Yeah, my takeaway is, as the name of the episode suggests, defense is the best attack. Um, as we saw, Bucker's team, 4 players with 53 points shared between them. This has been going on for the last couple of, or maybe 3 game weeks, where the Chelsea assets, Liverpool assets in Trent, or like even Cancelo has been delivering attacking returns, and a lot of FPL managers have been benefiting from them. It's come to a point where we I think most of the FPL managers are starting to invest in a heavier defense, rather than having premium forwards, because all those premium forwards anyways do not or are not contributing in any ways. So I think we will see this shift going forward, that many FPL managers will be owning Rudiger, James, Cancelo, and Trent. Uh, so that will be something that is something that I observed from the spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the differentials, as usual, I look at the differentials. The couple of big ones this week was Emmanuel Dennis from Watford and Rudiger from Chelsea, both having 14 points each. Dennis with those couple of goals and an assist, I think, or like a goal and a couple of assists and bonus points. Didn't expect it against United, but ended up having 14 points, and finally Jimenez with that goal, so 8 points for him. So I think these 3 players were the top differentials
Mm.
for this game week, and were not owned by many. I think with the exception of Jimenez, Dennis and Rudiger were only owned by, like, I think one or I think 5 uh, managers in total. So
Right.
those are my takeaways for the game week.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I think I've noticed that Jimenez has been in your differential picks like a few times in the last weeks, because he's been performing like really well consistently and has given your team like good points every week. So yeah, I think I'm surprised to not see him feature more in the template team, or at least in more teams overall. Maybe it's his price point.
Yeah,
It, 7.5.
maybe.
People can't afford
I
it, and
mean,
they would rather buy other
if
like
you own
midfielders.
someone like Vardy, maybe that's a switch you can do. Go, downgrade. I mean, in terms of FPL points to Jimenez, and so you save 3 million in the bank, and
Yeah.
he's been pretty consistent. And as you rightly pointed out, he's been in our differentials list for many game weeks now. So he seems to be a good option.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And yeah, that's a really good suggestion. Yeah, Vardy to Jimenez, and then free up cash to make other changes elsewhere. I mean, go big in
Mm.
defense. Maybe we should propose like a 5-man defense: Rudiger, James, Alonso, Cancelo, and Trent. Man,
Yeah,
that would
that
be a
would
dream
be
team.
insane. Given that all the 3 Chelsea players start week in and week out, I would 100% invest in that defense.
I know. So I think it's United versus Chelsea this week, and then after that,
Yeah.
I think Chelsea's fixtures are okay again. I guess.
Mm.
I forget. I think they are okay. Yeah. So yeah, that could be an amazing. We could try that. Let's see. I mean, maybe not this week. Some no spoiler alert, but not this week. But next week, if the content creator of the week still keeps on suggesting, this Chelsea defense, and Alonso maybe ends up scoring some points playing instead of Chilwell, then
Yeah.
we can think about it.
Yeah.
As for my takeaways, yeah, I normally take a look at the spread of the points and trying to see what made the difference. So the range of points this time was again pretty huge, between 52 and 89 points for the 20 content creators, or including the both of us. And it's mainly because of these big defenders. I think the team at the bottom did not have any of the big defenders like James or Rudiger, even Chilwell for that matter. So
Mm.
that's essentially you're getting like 35 points right there, and that's exactly the difference. So yeah, so not owning these big defenders is problematic. I think people are still trying to trust and see if Kane or Ronaldo, or these big like Son and big midfielders will give them points, but I don't think that's working out for now. Maybe a few game weeks down the line that starts working, but right now doesn't seem to be like a good idea. Having said that, FPL tips does have Kane and ended up having 83 points. So here's a person who's able to, I think, get all the right defenders. I think Rudiger, Cancelo, Alexander Arnold, and James were his four defenders, and he had Kane. So he's managed to find a right balance between having that one premium forward that he can rotate around, Kane to
Yeah.
Ronaldo to Vardy to like Jimenez, and he can do whatever he wants with that slot, whereas all his other like his defender slots are sorted. So that's a really nice position to be in. I think that's a very strong position to be in. And then let's see, we'll keep an eye out on what FPL Tips does in the next weeks, and if he
Mm.
continues to score good points, even though he's not having the normal captain picks or whatever. So yeah, so that was interesting for me. Right. So then coming to the creator of the week for the game week tomorrow, it's as we said, Big Man Bucker, who's um, one of the three presenters of the FPL Wire podcast, a really highly acclaimed podcast. Really fun to listen to. All the three hosts there have their unique play styles and their unique way of looking at the game. So always an interesting listen, and you can then get a diverse viewpoint and choose which one you like the best. So yeah, I enjoy it a lot. He's also the part of the Fantasy Football Hub, and has his team reveals and a lot of articles every week. His current rank is at 70k, and it's thanks to his few game weeks since his game week 8 wildcard that he's done really well with these going big in with the defenders, and he's rose up in ranks. He's played for
Yeah.
11 seasons, and his best rank has been world rank 4 in 2014-15. Oh man,
Hmm.
I think there I've read some tweets that he was overall rank 3 at some point in that season, and he made that one I think differential captain pick, going for the rank 1, but instead it didn't work out well, and he ended up being rank 4. But that's amazing to be uh, world number 4 like at the end of the season. I don't think any other content creator has reached that peak, as far as I know.
Yeah, no,
uh,
I mean, we are thinking of getting there in like the thousands in rank, but getting number 4 is like an incredible achievement, and
yeah.
I'm not sure how you deal with that pressure.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this year we are only aiming for like top 100k, and look at this guy, you know, being in the top
Yeah,
10 or whatever. That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, and he's also managed to finish top 1k on another occasion, and 5 times in the top 100k. So yeah, consistency has been key for Bucker, and yeah, he seems to do well. He has a very stat heavy based approach.
mm,
Always post these Twitter threads every week summarizing the best sort of comparisons between players in terms of stats, which player is doing better than others, always normalized by shots per
yeah,
90 per game, etc. Always useful to give it a read once every week to see to make those final decisions. So yeah, so that's Big Man Bucker, the creator of the week, and we'll take a look at who he has suggested. So yeah, if you can
Yeah.
tell us.
Um, so kudos to Bakar for sharing his threads week in and week out. These as Carling mentioned, these threads are filled with stats and stats based inferences, or like what based on what he has observed from the stats, he makes those picks or suggestions. So I'm gonna run through this real quick. So the main question for this game week: who is the replacement for Ben Chilwell? And um, uh, Bucker pointed out three names: Reece James, Regulon, and Alonso. But as we've discussed, it's going to be Reece James for him because statistically he's doing as expected, really well, delivering either assists or scoring goals and getting all the bonus points every single match. So Reece James is the standout pick, or a standout replacement for Chilwell, according to Bucker. And then he had this point on who's the best pick out of Jota, Foden, and Silva. And according to Bucker, it's going to be Diogo Jota if you feel he's going to be a long term pick, because Firmino's out for a while and Jota is going to be part of that Liverpool attack for as like a permanent replacement for Firmino. So he's a sure shot starter, and with the form Liverpool is in, he's definitely a long term pick. So it's Diogo Jota as Bucker's pick. And then the next thing he discussed was, do we need, is it the right time to sell Antonio? But according to Bucker, it's only the right time if you want to go for Kane, like you sell Antonio and get a cheaper forward, and then you use that cash to eventually get someone like Kane or Ronaldo in your team, or even to adjust your midfield if you want to get someone like Jota or Foden in your team. So in that scenario, he feels like you can sell Antonio, but otherwise he's not a hard sell. And then a lot of uh, discussion on budget midfielders. Here's a list of names he compared against each other: Gallagher, Bowen, Smith Rowe, Cornet, Mbumo, and I'm sorry, I mentioned Cornet twice. But yeah, it's the five names in here. And I think, according to Bucker, the pick of those budget midfielders is Gallagher, primarily because Crystal Palace's run in fixtures is going to be far more easier than the other four players. So Gallagher is his pick as the best budget midfielder. And again, the same thing, a comparison between budget forwards. Few names thrown around: King, Benteke, Aubameyang, and Jimenez. But according to Bucker, it's either going to be King and Benteke, because Benteke is the second most scoring forward after Mo Salah. And crazy hot form. He scored a couple of goals last game. So getting those bonus points, and same with King, scoring almost for the last couple of game weeks, and he's on penalties as well. So these two are like the best budget forwards to go for if you're considering switching someone in your forward position. So and the last couple of questions, like the one that we discussed previously, was Tony and Mbumo, what to do with these two players. According to Bucker, both are a keep for this game week, primarily because he feels this is, even though Mbumo has hit the post 7 times,
Hmm.
it's about time he will, give us returns. So that's Bucker's suggestion. I don't completely agree with it, but
Mhm.
same thing with Tony. It's a keep from his point of view. And then last thing that Bucker mentioned was, is it the right time to sell Rafinha? And again, according to Bucker, if you want to go for Jota or someone better than Jota in midfield, only then he sees Rafinha being transferred out of the team. Otherwise, even though Leeds fixtures are moderate, it doesn't see Rafinha out of the team. So those are all the picks and suggestions by Bucker for game week 13. So based on that, we both have made
Mm-hmm.
changes to the team. So why don't we go
Yeah.
with Pint?
Yeah, your team first.
Yeah, so I went for the obvious change. I switched Chilwell to James.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only change in my team. I went for a back four this time because my friend Livramento has Liverpool away. I
Mm-hmm.
just cannot, keep him on the first team because the way Liverpool are playing, they might just thrash them on their day. So it's a 4-4-2 for me with Salah captain and Son vice captain. Pretty much the same team as last time, except Sanchez comes back in goal. So that's all. That's the only change that I did. And moving on to yours.
Yeah, no, just a quick note about our team. It's tough to keep Smith Rowe on the bench against Newcastle, right? I don't know what you
Yeah,
can do. I
it's.
mean, it's just a
I mean,
headache. Yeah,
it's. Yeah, I'm still in two minds on that. It's either benching Tony or benching Laporte, but I don't know. I mean, I'm I might I might make the switch late tonight, but
yeah,
for now, based on Bakker's suggestion, I decided to just keep Tony.
yeah. No, I think yeah, I did the same. I think last week the team that I showed in the episode was completely different. In the end, I did make the changes, and as you had suggested, Rafinha I couldn't keep on the bench. I started him. That didn't matter, but still, I did make
Yeah.
those changes before deadline. So yeah, I can understand that you could, your favorite player Ivan Tony could go to the bench, and ESR is in for Newcastle. Anyway, so yeah, looks like a good team. Yeah, you have the right mix of players. Anyway, we've talked about that. So yeah, so then going on to my team. Uh, so in my team, I have done the most obvious change. I'm gonna trying to copy your exact words, but yeah, I've also done Chilwell to James.
Yeah.
Bucker suggested James to be the most obvious replacement for Chilwell, and yeah,
Yeah.
we go for that. And then apart from that, Bucker says, and I follow. Tony and Mbeumo, they start. They're in my team, and I think you shared Bucker's team reveal on the hub with me just before we recorded, and he had Antonio in his team on the bench, and Bucker does. I follow. So Anthony is also on my bench. I'm sticking with him. I think his fixtures improve a couple of game weeks later. If not, I can,
Yeah.
uh, depending on what next week's content creator says, I can switch him back.
Yeah.
I think the screenshot I have on the video is a bit wrong, but that doesn't matter because in the end I have Salah as my captain and Vardy as my vice captain and not Cancelo. But yeah, Vardy has a good fixture against Watford. Hopefully, he breaks his streak of blanks and scores some points because I got him in the team for at the exact time he stopped scoring and I
That's
would
the same thing with me, I
yeah,
guess.
I think I have enough budget to switch to a bigger forward, but I would like Vardy to give me a parting gift before I move him on. And of course, I'm waiting for Kane to do something in a Tottenham shirt in the Premier League. So yeah, if that happens, yeah, maybe that's the next move. Apart from that, yeah, pretty standard stuff. Rafinha, Gallagher also start. James, Cancelo, Diaz, and Trent are the big four that I'm going for.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, those were our teams based on Bucker's thoughts, and yeah, should be very interesting. We'll see how it goes for us in game week 13. And just a quick run through the fixtures. All the fixtures are on like Saturday and Sunday, and we have a game week immediately on Tuesday and Wednesday. So it's going to be a very short turnaround. So it'll be a lot of matches together
Yeah.
this weekend, and we will also we'll also be doing a pod between the next game week. So it'll be another pod, I think, on Monday,
Hmm.
because Tuesday is the deadline. So yeah, so
Yeah.
quick turnaround, lots of information to take in. Be ready. Don't miss on the game week deadlines. Easy to do so. So yeah, just keep an eye out as well about this. Yeah. Anyway, coming to the fixtures, I think uh, just our predictions. There's not much disagreement, except I'm going for a Wolves victory against Norwich, whereas you're going for a draw, and I'm going for a Brentford victory versus Everton, where again you're going for a draw. And you think Antonio Conte's Spurs not at high level is going to draw against Burnley, but I feel they'll just scrape through and do get a victory there.
Yeah.
A
Maybe
lot of
it's quite possible.
Yeah.
Um,
And then coming to the big one, Chelsea versus United. Wow, you've gone for like a 3-0 victory. Come on, man. The Ralph Ragnick era, although he's not available yet, so Michael Carrick's 100% record should be maintained, man. Come on. What are you talking about?
yeah, Carrick's at the wheel. I think we need to change the song now. So
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go for a United victory every week. Doesn't matter what happens. It's a 2-1 victory for me, and you say it's going to be a 3-0 thrashing.
I mean,
A good reason to get rid of
that
Carrick or
Chelsea
something. No, I
team
don't know.
is just incredible.
Yeah.
I just feel they don't need Lukaku. So the way they're playing, I mean, they're unstoppable, and it's. I hope it's a great match like this, back and forth, like end to end stuff. But with that defense and the way Tuchel has organized the team, it's just incredible this year. So that's why I feel Chelsea are clear winners this time.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Mm.
All right, then. So then, yeah. Thanks a lot, everyone, for listening. We are once again coming to you uh, very close to a deadline, but yeah, I hope you get to listen to this, shorter version, where everything we have the most information available from the entire week. So yeah, so you can give this pod a quick listen before you make your transfers close to the deadline, or even if the deadline has passed. I think this is an interesting podcast anyway to listen to, because if you are keeping track of all these different content creators, sort of helps you to be on top of things, um, despite it being after the deadline, or you didn't get a chance to catch the episode before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so good luck, everyone. I hope you have a nice game week. We'll see you shortly on Monday, and yeah, don't forget to lock in your teams, make your correct captaincy picks, and yeah, we'll see you in a couple of days. So yeah, good luck and goodbye from me.
Good luck.